Hi, this is Larry London. I welcome you to Border Crossings. And for today, we are joined by a singer-songwriter who's got a new album out right now called Time Bomb. We'd like to welcome to our show the one and only Adam Masterson. It's great to have you on Border Crossings.
It's great to be here, Larry. Thank you for having me.
Now, you are in London. And how is the weather in London right now?
It's a bit cold today, but not too bad. Not too bad. It could be colder, so we're doing all right.
Mm-hmm. And you go between London and I guess you have a house in New York as well that you call home. So
yeah, I'm actually here. I did a gig in Camden last week in London, but the real reason I'm here is because I've just had a green card interview. It's been approved.
Oh, congratulations.
So, thank you very much. So I'm currently waiting on my passport to arrive in the next few days, and then I'll be flying back to New York and getting my green card finally stamped in. So.
Do you find a difference in the London music scene versus the New York and the US music scene?
Well, I think there are some differences. I think they're both great cities and with lots to offer. One thing that when I went out to New York, I just tried it. One thing that really, I think, really meant a lot to me was it's quite compact downtown in New York. A lot of the clubs are close together. And also there really are some great players in New York. You know, if your bass player can't play the show, for example, there's another 5 superb bass players who can. There are great players in London, but I just think New York really has its act together. And I was someone that was always determined to play and keep playing out. And that was the real attraction to me about New York.
And London had or still has a great underground, scene, punk scene, and I think everything started in London as far as punk, and then came to New York after that. But it's got to be a great place to grow up for somebody who wants to do music as a career.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was playing gigs in Camden at 16, 17, and then I lived in Ladbroke Grove, and I started playing in the bars and places around there and got a nice following around there. And London's got so many pockets. I guess it's sort of more similar to Los Angeles a little bit in that it's quite spread out. And New York, if you go out to Brooklyn and places, it can be further afield. But there's a lot of venues around the East Village, Lower East Side that I play. But London, for sure. I mean, it's a high bar. You got to get going there. It's for sure. It's one of the best cities in the world for that stuff.
What's the reaction right now there in London to the news that the Rolling Stones and the Beatles are recording an album together?
Really? Well,
yes.
My reaction is I've not heard that yet. So you're the first person.
Breaking news. See.
Is that today? Okay. Well,
yeah, that's today. I thought everybody was talking about it already. Because I know there was a rivalry kind of back in the day. Some tension between Mick Jagger and Paul or Elton or John Lennon. But now it seems like Paul and Ringo have recorded their tracks for the album, and Mick and Keith have done their thing.
Really? Well, let's hear it. Let's see what it's like. Maybe the media build up these things. I think there were always probably good friends behind it all. But I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, so it's just going to be the 4 of them.
I think, it might.
I guess McCartney can play bass, Ringo can play drums, Keith can play guitar, and Jagger can sing.
Yes,
it's bizarre because I saw that on Facebook when I think Charlie Watts passed away. Someone just said, "Look, I'm just putting it out there," but the members that they have left,
right,
the ones that are missing in the other act. So it's let's see what they can come up with. It'd be great if they could get in the room together,
yes,
play.
That would be classic. So who would Adam Masterson like to collaborate with? It can be a live or dead artist. Who would you like to work with?
Well, I mean, live or dead.
Top 3.
Well, I don't know. For some reason, I don't know. Carole King, maybe. Carole King.
Wow. I thought for sure you'd say Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, well, Bruce Springsteen would be great if he's not on tour. Yeah, Bruce. And for some reason, he started getting me thinking about the Beatles. I thought Ringo Starr, just because I think he'd be such a cool guy to hang out with, and he'd be so open. I'd be like, "Cool, let's do it, Adam." So and then I don't know, like someone else.
And you've performed with
that's
Amy Winehouse, I guess, and you performed with quite a few different music giants as well. So and Amy's no longer with us, but you've worked with some pretty big names.
Yeah, me and Amy played at the Borderline together, the Borderline in London, and yeah, I've done some big gigs and some small gigs, and I've done the whole gamut. Yeah.
Yep, that's the nature of the biz. We've got Adam Masterson with us. Time Bomb is the new album. We're going to ask if you do a song now, and then we're going to chat a little bit more about the new album. But what song are you going to do for us first?
I'm going to play a song from the record Time Bomb. This is called Bring Back the Freaks.
And what was the inspiration of Bring Back the Freaks?
Well, I think that a little about what we've been talking about. There was a time, sort of the counterculture moment that happened sort of in the 60s and 70s. And it was a great expressive moment. And while today's it's a fantastic time to be alive without any shadow of a doubt, as we get more into this tech world, it's bringing us together in many ways, but in other ways it's pulling us apart. And I guess the song is about someone who's really feeling that tension. He's feeling disconnected, and he's trying to find his group and his gang, and he's got this whole. I think I got the name of the song when Leonard Cohen died that night, and I was working on it, and there was an election going on that was very polarizing, and it was just sort of this previous world receding, if you will. I think the character in the song is longing for that sort of some of these sort of larger than life personalities that could unify us with music and songs and things like that. So I think that's what the song's getting at.
All right. And it's called
Bring Back the Freaks.
Bring Back the Freaks. Here's Adam Masterson here on Border Crossings.
Dear Delilah, it's 6 a.m. I think I might just cry. There's a voice on the radio that says that Leonard Cohen just died. And there's a new boss that starts today. I'm on the factory floor. Same old people in the black-tagged cars, but they're 10 times worse than before. I'm sliding farther down this picture plan. Into the pit slips my pendulum heart. I got so stuck playing this movie part. If I scream, wake me up, check I'm breathing. Bring back the freaks. I just can't follow the sheep. Where are our misfit high priests? Why have their voices deceased? Bring back the freaks. David Bowie, a clockwork orange. I think I need to find my drug. Alistair Crowley, love is the law. Love on the wheel just keeps us singing the blues. husky as a postal clerk. John Winston Lennon shot dead peace on earth. Vincent van Gogh knows what all this is worth, as eternity hands him oblivion. Bring back the free. Where are our beautiful beasts? I can't get used with these beats. These nerds are shaking my peace. Bring back the freaks. Are you feeling frightened? If we kill the sun, do we become enlightened? Dear Delilah, I clean my gun. I can say I've lived it all. I'm giving up, but I ain't giving in. I'm gonna go out walking tall. I got my tannoy in my darkest dream. I'm being murdered, I can barely scream. If this is your nightmare, hell, you know what I mean. As they piss on our backs and tell us it's raining. Bring back the freaks. Raise up our song from the streets. Out on the edge of the heat, undead prophets still speak. Bring back the freaks. Bring back the freaks.
Border Crossings, Adam Masterson, and that's called Bring Back the Freaks. I like that. Bring back the freaks. Now, when I listen to you sing, you sound like an American. I hear no British accent at all. And then when you talk, I hear the British accent. So can you explain how is it that British singers don't sound British when they're singing?
No, not really. I guess we just, maybe there's a lot of American music on the radio that influences us. Accents are funny. I took my son over to America when he was like 5 months old, and you know now he's 8. But he actually still speaks with a British accent. Would you believe it? So he goes into school and says, "I can't do that," and you know, like tomato, and he freaks them out. And then he said to me, "Dad, what's British?" I went, "What do you mean British?" He says, "Well, everyone says I have this accent and they call it British." And what he's actually getting at is that we call it England. We're going back to England and this is English. And he's never heard us talking about the word British, but the Americans have this, they use British every day. He was completely not knowing what a British accent is, so I had to explain it to him. But yeah, accents are funny things. I guess the music, I don't know, depends from song to song. English people don't say it sounds like an American accent, but it's very sort of American music's definitely had a big influence on me. I mean, well, it's American music, but it's almost like the whole world moved to America and brought their songs and stories with them, and that's what America has. It has that wonderful melting pot. And I think, you know, talking about the Beatles and the Stones, I think they sort of picked up on that and then translated it back. So it's quite a two-way sort of interchange, you know, two-way conversation, if you will.
So if you're writing a song and you're from a London, from a British background, would you say boot or would you say trunk? Would you say lift or would you say elevator in the lyrics of the song?
I think I'd naturally say boot, but I'm starting to say, you know, if I'm going to a gig and I'm getting the guitar out the back of the taxi, and I go, "Can you pop the trunk?" Because I know they're gonna. That's what it get. I would say that in America, but I think stick it in the boot would be sort of the way it would come out of my mouth in a song. You know?
And there's quite a few other words that are kind of on a fine line that are used in England that in America have a totally different meaning. So you have to be real careful, I guess.
Oh, yeah. You learn that pretty fast. Yeah.
But we're talking with Adam Masterson. So tell me about Time Bomb. How many albums is this for you? Is this different than the last couple of albums? If so, how? I want to hear more about Time Bomb.
Well, Time Bomb's something I've been working on for a moment now. And I did put some songs out on the EP just before the pandemic called Delayed Fuse. And actually, Time Bomb came about because I wanted to put out the Delayed Fuse album. It's a little lyric in one of the songs called Take a Little Love. It's just, and I scoured the record to find a title in there, in the lyrics, and this line, Delayed Fuse, popped up. Well, that might work. And then, of course, I was advised to put an EP out to introduce the album. And I'd used the Delayed Fuse title for the EP, and I was chatting to the publicist who was helping me put this together, and she said, "Look, you got to come up with another title." And so I went home, and this is like February as the pandemic's about to hit, and I just thought, Delayed Fuse, Time Bomb, and it just came into my head. So I had this title for this album. I didn't have a song, and I thought, well, I'll have no chance writing the song and recording it if we're doing this in a few months. But then, of course, COVID-19 hit. All the cards were thrown up in the air. Everything got scattered, and I actually wasn't in New York. I was in the UK, and I had a bunch of tracks, Bring Back the Freaks and Wild Bulls, that I just recorded in Brooklyn, the basic tracks, and I was trying to mix them and figuring out how I'd do that. And I ended up in this recording studio that had a piano. I started writing this piece of music and went home that night and went, why don't you call that Time Bomb? And so then I had the song, and I was quickly trying to record this piece of music because I did think this could be the title track of the album, and it could be the first track on the album. And funny enough, that I was missing that album opener. So it kind of brought these strands together, and which was pretty good.
Are you going to do that for us on the show today, Time Bomb?
Yes, I can perform it now for you.
Oh, let's do that. That would be great. That's perfect timing, perfect segue. So here's Adam Masterson, and this is called Time Bomb, the title track to his brand new album.
It's been a long walk trying to find my way to you. I've crossed oceans, I've crossed deserts too. You are the reason that I'm trying to crack this code. I think it's time to let the bomb explode. Have you seen the way that she plays? Nothing makes me feel this way. She's a time bomb ticking, ticking at my feet. She's a time bomb trapping me on empty streets. She's a time bomb ticking, ticking at my feet. She's a time bomb, this is where I'm incomplete. The world behind me burns tonight. You got the safety match, I know I'm gonna spark this stick of dynamite that's in my heart. You are the reason every bridge behind me burns. You are the mothership of no return. Have you seen the way that she plays? Nothing makes her feel this way. She's a time bomb ticking, ticking at my feet. She's a time bomb trapping me on empty street. She's a time bomb ticking, ticking at my feet. She's a time bomb, this is where I'm incomplete. The world behind her burns tonight. My blood it thickens when I think of you. You're the disease I'm addicted to. You're a time bomb ticking, ticking at my feet. You're a time bomb, I got you on repeat. You're a time bomb ticking, ticking at my feet. You're a time bomb, this is where I still believe. You're a time bomb ticking, ticking at my feet. You're a time bomb, this is where we are complete. The world behind us burns tonight.
Border Crossings. Adam Masterson is the singer-songwriter who joins us today. Time Bomb is the new album, and it's the song that we just heard. And so Time Bomb, it's kind of got a very strong, prolific sound to it. Time Bomb. I'm not sure, you know, when you were writing it, when you were coming up with it, what was going through your mind? You did this during COVID, so COVID must have played a part in your songwriting.
In a little bit. I mean, I think the title in itself had a lot of drama to it and a sense of tension. You know, Time Bomb means, you know, I put myself in the one image that came to mind, or out of the many images. I mean, it wasn't just one image that made it come together lyrically. But if you're approaching a time bomb and you've been told you're going to dispose of this thing, you know, it's like, do you run up to it or do you casually walk up to it? And the truth is, it doesn't make a difference because you don't know when the thing's going to go off. So I remember this picture of a soldier in Northern Ireland going up to dispose of a bomb, and they'd evacuated the road, and they called the picture The Long Walk. So that was the first lyric. It's been a long walk trying to find my way to you. And I thought it's like each of us in our lives, you know, at some point we're going to meet this sort of sense of destiny, and it could go our way, it could not go our way, a bit like a time bomb. And what do? Do fools rush in, or do you just approach it in the eye of the storm in a calm sort of way? And back to your question about COVID. Well, I was writing it, and not that it's really a song in any sense about COVID, but just things I was hearing in the news at the time. Talking about what the virus did to your blood, and it was thickening people's bloods, and should they take ibuprofen or what, you know, it could be. So, you know, there was this, I think the lyric is, you know, my blood, it thickens when I think of you, you're the disease I'm addicted to. I think I was just picking things out of the news, you know, which can often happen. Things buzz around in your conscience and they find their way into the songs.
Where is the most interesting place that a song buzzed into your consciousness? Where was the most unique or interesting place you came up with a song?
Really, at the piano, actually. I think it was a lovely room, a place called the Writing Room at Real World Studios in Wiltshire. And I was originally calling the song, before I figured out the time bomb thing, I was going to call the song The Writing Room, because it was such a strong name for a place. And it was just banging away at it, and yeah, it was late at night. I think I was actually preparing for this performance for a live stream, and I was playing maybe Bring Back the Freaks on a piano, and this song that I've never recorded called End of a Dream, and the chords sort of did a certain thing, and I was practicing this sort of chord cadence, and then bang, I did something else and changed it, and all of a sudden it was like, down the rabbit hole, you're in this new song, and I know that I'm suddenly gone into another world. You know, it's like you're in songland, and you know, it's like, okay, let's see where this takes me. You know,
I wasn't particularly interested where you wrote Time Bomb, but I was interested in where the most interesting places you've written any song, the most unusual inspiration. You know, you could have been in the bathroom, you could have been anywhere, and a song came to you. A lot of artists say in their sleep, you know,
I've had songs come to me in my sleep, but I tell you what I've noticed, and I've heard it said by other people, being in transit, it can be a wonderful thing because it takes you out of the sort of bluster of life and into you're just detained for a moment in a certain place, and almost something hangs suspended, and that part of your brain might start working. Like going back to the album time one, there's a song on it called Runaway, and I had the melody and I had the idea of it being about a boxer making a comeback, and that was it. And then the whole lyric came to me on a plane journey from London to New York. And Bring Back the Freaks, actually, which I just performed earlier, that was I had the idea again, I had the music, but the lyrics came on a burst when I was on a subway train going up to Midtown or something to go to the, sort of a museum, I think a museum with my kids, and we were meeting some other people out there. And I just remember we got lost on the subway, and meanwhile this song's going through my head, and my wife's gone, "Oh, we've taken the wrong train." And I was like thinking, do I come out of this space I'm in, or try and figure out? And then I just looked at the map and went, we need that train. And it's kind of like, when you wake up from a dream, mm-hmm. and it was quite a good dream, and it's been interrupted, and you want to see if you can fall back to sleep and re-jump into the dream. I don't know if you've ever.
Oh yes,
that, but it was kind of like that. And I was like, well, I think this song's. And I'm going a bit quiet, and it's very hard to explain to someone that you could be saying that all the time just to get someone off your chest. But I was like, no, I think I'm in this one, and I mean, literally, the subway's packed with people crowded up against you, and I'm literally going, and I'm piecing it together. And I'm writing it down on the phone. I'm like, it's just, it decides to come in the most bizarre places. But, when you're moving around, you're out of step from mm-hmm. sitting at a desk and expecting things to sort of avail themselves. That can be quite a frustrating thing. You're looking at the blank piece of paper, and it's a bit like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, easily nothing's happening.
That's right. Exactly. Well, as an artist, a creative person, I'm sure the creative juices flow in the most interesting circumstances for you. And when people call you singer-songwriter, which would you like first? Which do you think you're better at?
Well, I think I'm a bit opposite to everybody else. Since I started, everyone went on about my voice, and that's wonderful that happened. But I prior to singing, I just wanted to write songs. I thought I'd be in a band. I didn't really play guitar, but I did play piano and keyboards, and I was very interested in words. And I when you're about 12 or 13, being a singer or being in a group or anything like that seemed like such a faraway thing when you're still at school. But I did start listening to records, and I noticed in some of these bands like Pink Floyd, there'd be a keyboard guy and they might chime in with a lyric. I thought, well, maybe I could be that guy and help out with the writing of the songs. And it wasn't until I started like 15, 16 and was playing songs to friends. And what I remember saying is that I've got these songs, but I'll find a singer to sort of sing them, but this is how they go. And it was then people started picking up saying, the voice, you should sing the songs. So I think if you asked anyone else, they'd probably say I was a singer. But me, I think it's being a songwriter that is the real furnace or fire inside of me that is driving me mm-hmm. to do this.
I like your voice. You have that rock and roll, raspy, voice sound. And that's, real work for Bruce Springsteen, work for so many others. And I know that some of your music, you've worked with great producers, but, I was particularly interested, you work with Van Morrison's crew.
Yeah, that was on the first record, One Tell Too Many. I worked with a guy called Mick Glossop, and he engineered like literally every Van record, or at least most of them, from the mid-70s to about 2005. So he'd done a long innings with Van, and obviously knew all the musicians and sort of the musical directors of Van's bands. And when I got the record deal with BMG, we'd met just prior to that, and then I got the deal and we were making a record, and I approached him. He hired in a lot of the band that Van played with. I remember back a guitarist called Johnny Scott, MD Matt Van's band. He played guitar, and then Kate St. John on the oboe, Richie Buckley on the flute and saxophone. So it had a very Celtic feel, that first album. In fact, some people this last week have been saying that the last track on the record, Leaves Against the Sky, is sort of somewhat reminiscent of that first album in feel. And maybe the rest of the Time Bomb's more of a rock feel, you know. That was more a bit folky. I was definitely under the spell of sort of folk music like Van Morrison, Astor Weeks and John Martin, Solid Air, and some English, Scottish and American folk music, you know. But I always liked, you know, pounding guitars, thumping drums, and rock music too. So it was, I like different styles, and I like to sort of explore wherever, you know, the fancy takes me, you know.
Adam Masterson is with us today here on Border Crossings. You're going to do another song for us, one more?
Yes. This next song is called Wild Wolves.
Wild Wolves? Is there a story?
Yeah. Well, this music, this came as when I was out and about, walking around, not with a guitar. And I think the first line I got was, "If dogs run free." It came out. If dogs run free, they're da-di-da-di-da to you and me or something. And I thought that might be a title, but I thought I'd heard that title somewhere before, If Dogs Run Free. And I couldn't remember where. And then obviously with the word dogs in the running free, I must have just tilted me or pushed me towards Wild Wolves. And then that came out in the chorus. And then I thought, that's a better title, Wild Wolves. And then I just figured my way into it, found my way in, you know. So.
All right, here's Adam Masterson, and this is called Wild Wolves. Let's find our way into this song.
I'm a hunter, fire loving, and you're the girl that holds the key. It's a trap that's got us running. I'm your prisoner, set me free. I can feel the fear where the wild wolves run, chasing at my tail where I'm not so strong. You know how it feels. If dogs run free, they'll be snapping at the heels of you and me, snapping at the heels of you and me. There's something out there coming, and it's after you and me. I'm so scared of losing you among these trees. I can feel the fear where the wild wolves run, chasing at our tails where we're not so strong. We know it's coming near. If dogs run free, is there something left here for you and me? Something left here for you and me. Beauty and the Beast, where this wildwood keeps my lover. Oh, she's my safety and she's my danger. She's my path of shattered glass. Oh, sometimes she's a stranger. It's how we wear these masks. I know there's something there we've lost. Oh, it's a weight that we both carry. You say the word, I pay that cost. I can feel the fear where the wild wolves run, chasing at our tails when we're not so strong. We both know where it went. If dogs run free, they'll be digging at the sands of you and me, digging up the sands of you and me. I can feel the fear when the wild wolves run. Time is running down, but the feeling's strong. Oh, it's howling in the night. If dogs run free, they'll give the kiss of life to you and me. cover for each other. We're just out of reach. We're wild wolves. We're wild wolves. We're wild
Border Crossings, Wild Wolves. It's Adam Masterson, who is our guest today from Time Bomb, which is his latest album, the brand new album that just came out. And the plans are for a tour this year. Are you coming back to the States, touring the UK? What is Adam Masterson going to be doing the next 12 months?
Yeah, there's. I hope to be playing some gigs certainly down the West Coast. So, no, sorry, my mistake. The East Coast. I'd like to play down in Washington D.C. and Philadelphia and Boston and New York, obviously. If I can get down a bit further, that'd be great too. And then possibly, a gig. I played out in LA at the end of last year, so maybe drop by LA and see if I can figure out a route out that way too. So we're talking about a physical release in July. So there's certainly going to be physical release in the shops in the UK and Europe, and I'm trying to find a distributor for the US. So maybe we could snake a tour around that eventuality.
That would be great. So Adam Masterson, if people want to find you on the internet, if they want to connect with you through social media, where do they go?
Well, I'm on all social media, on Facebook and Instagram. I think on Instagram it's Adam Masterson Music. Twitter it's Masterson Adam, I think. And my website is www.adammasterson.com. But, Facebook or Instagram, I guess I'll, flash up if they type in my name. And always happy people getting in touch, connecting with the music.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, for joining us here on The Voice of America. Time Bomb is the name of the new album, and Adam Masterson has been our guest. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You're watching Border Crossings, and this is VOA TV.